Welcome, guys! Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Yay! And today we're going to be reacting to Mr. Nightmare. This one's called 3 Creepy Real Stories with photos and video footage. That's going to be very disturbing. I better have my blanket because I think I'm going to get the chills. I feel like this one's going to be very bone chilling. Yeah, it's like Nukes and Mr. Nightmare put together. So yeah, with probably no ghosts, it'll probably be like real life creepy shit. Yeah, it says the word creepy. So yeah. Oh, if you notice me, you're probably thinking, "Boy, I look different." I've had a haircut, so yeah, fresh new hair. So yep, I feel a lot better. I feel like I'm not heavy on the head. So it's good that I've had a haircut, proper haircut. Got my hot chocolate. Haven't decided if I want my cookie or not, but maybe, maybe not, maybe I don't know. But we are going to be reacting to Mr. Nightmare. So yeah. Anyway, please subscribe, turn notifications, and click the bell beside you. Anyway, let's jump right onto it, shall we? Yippee! I'm never ready. And I have broken. So I got a phone, right? And I made this in arts and crafts. And I broke one of these little things off. I don't know if you can see it. But yeah, I broke it off by accident. So disappointed in that. But anyway, Mr. Nightmare will make me happy. So with the chills, I got a lot my door. Hi. Let's jump right onto it, shall we? Can't believe I'm 2 minutes in and I haven't even started the video. Gosh damn it.
Mark was a college student living in Indiana.
We're just getting into it.
His house was quiet and sat next to some woods. During the day, everything felt normal, but at night, the woods made the place feel strange. Behind his house, under the patio, there was a hot tub. That's where everything happened. It was Saturday night, March 29th, around 12:30 a.m. Spring break was ending and school was starting again soon. Mark had his 3 close friends over, Kyle, Keenan, and Derek. They were spending one last night hanging out. They were in the garage, playing pool, blasting music, and drinking.
This is how you know it's a real story, because it has footage. I'm not saying that all Mr. Nightmare is fake, but I do think he gets stuff off Reddit that's not true. I'm not saying all of it's real, but these stories are genuinely real.
And having fun. It felt like a good night. After a while, Kyle said they should go in the hot tub. It was cold outside, so the warm water sounded even better. Everyone agreed. They got changed into swim trunks, grabbed their drinks, and went into the hot tub. The warm water felt good as they talked, made jokes, and didn't pay attention to the time. Then they heard something. It was the sound of sticks breaking, like footsteps coming from the woods. It didn't sound like an animal. It sounded like a person. They all went quiet and looked around. Keenan tried to calm everyone down and said it was probably nothing. The others laughed, but it was more to stop feeling nervous. They turned the music up louder and tried to keep talking. About 10 minutes later, a man walked out of the woods. He stepped into the light from the patio. He was wearing a long black coat, white sweatpants, and a gaming headset. His eyes were wide, and his face didn't show any feeling. Everyone jumped. They yelled at him and asked who he was and what he was doing. The man raised his hands and said his name was Seth. He said he was 33 years old, and he heard them laughing and wanted to join.
Wait a second. Did you say they were 17, 16 and 17? I think they said 17. They're children. I even classify people children until they hit 20. Like, I don't even class an 18-year-old as an adult. I'm not going to be talking to some random 18-year-old down the street. Like, unless they're like family or they're like some person that they come up to me, then it's different, but I ain't going up to them. No, hell no. Because you look like you're on a pedophile. But anyway.
just looked at each other, confused. Mark told him to leave, but he didn't listen. Instead, Seth took off his coat, then his shoes, and then his pants.
Oh, they're actual footages. Damn.
It gets complicated when I
Piss
leave for
off.
work.
Damn. That's
He
very
was now in only
disturbing.
his underwear. Then he got into the hot tub. No one knew what to say. Mark pulled out his phone and started recording, not for fun, but because the whole thing felt unreal. This was the footage he captured.
There's 4 of them there.
They started asking Seth questions, like where he came from,
Yeah,
if
that's
he knew anyone
very
there.
disturbing. I would have got the fuck out of that pool. If 17-year-old me would have got the fuck out of that pool. No questions asked.
Kept saying he heard them laughing and wanted to hang out. Then he said something really disturbing. He said he had molested a child.
What the?
That
Whoo! Whoo! I was not prepared for that. Hold on. Whoo! Nah, hell nah. I told ya. I told ya. Like, I don't hang out, especially if I was the 17-year-old and bloody, like, I don't know, like, you don't know what this guy is capable of. This guy could have, like, molested a child, which he apparently said he did. I would have bolted out of that pool. I would have been like, not even answered any questions. I would have answered questions as soon as I got inside and been like, what the hell? Like, you don't know what people are capable of. And he said it. He said he, like, you know, not that he wasn't a pedophile. He's hanging out with 17, 16-year-olds in a pool in the middle of night, dark time. Like, no. Get out of there. I would have reported this.
It changed everything, obviously. The guys jumped out of the hot tub and started yelling at him to leave. They pulled him out of the water. Seth didn't try to stop them. He just stood there, dripping wet and staring. Then he slowly walked back into the woods without saying anything.
He didn't put on his
ran inside and
clothes.
locked all the doors.
He didn't put on his clothes,
Some of them
did he?
laughed nervously, trying to shake it off, but Mark and Kyle didn't feel okay. They felt like it wasn't over. About 15 minutes passed. Kyle said they should go back out to lock the hot tub. Mark said okay. So they got flashlights and stepped outside. That's when Mark saw something next to the hot tub. It was a phone. He picked it up and saw the screen light up. Whatever was on the lock screen made him drop the phone. He didn't say what it was, but it scared him. He said he thought Seth would come back, so they ran inside and told the others.
I would have told them
Everyone
what was
tried
on
to
the
stay
phone.
calm. Then they heard a tapping sound on the window.
Oh.
Woo! What it was. He opened the curtain, and wouldn't you know it, Seth was standing right there.
Hell no!
His eyes were wide open, and he had a creepy smile.
Hell no! I thought Mr. Nightmare was going to do a jump scare there, and they were going to show, like, the person doing this, crouch with their head going, but they panned over to a house, okay? Oh, hell no! Hell no! No. No. Nightmare Fuel. Nightmare Fuel. This is a 10 out of 10, this video. Whoo! I have chills all down my spine. Nah, that. Oh. Can you imagine? Like, they should have called the police. They shouldn't have gone in there. They should have, like, called the police, because you don't know if people come back. Like, obviously, like, this guy is out to get you guys. He's obviously malicious. He has, like, he's capable of anything. You don't know what his intentions are. His intentions aren't good. They aren't great. They, yeah, would have got out of there. Well, I did.
He just stared. Mark yelled for Kyle. Kyle ran in and called the police.
Yep, which
Mark
he
grabbed
should
a
have
bag
done
and went to the
before.
front door. He yelled for Seth to leave and take his phone. Seth didn't answer. Instead, he slowly walked around the side of the house. Mark followed a little bit and looked through the patio window. Seth was standing there again, staring inside. Mark told him the cops were coming and that he needed to.
Yeah, you get out of there. Don't even say that. I hate when people say that the cops are coming. The only reason people say that is because they're scared out of their life that someone's going to break in all that. If you tell the cops are going to come, they're just going to run out of way. Or he might just stand there and do nothing like an idiot. But most people are going to run back into the woods or run back, never to be seen again. So you want to catch this person. Like, you want to catch this person. So just lock yourself in a room. Like, I wouldn't be standing outside. Yeah, 17-year-old behavior. But anyone says that.
He just slowly raised his hand and
This is
waved
an
once.
idiot.
Then he turned and walked back into the woods. The
Yep.
police arrived a few minutes later. The guys told them everything. The officers searched the woods and found Seth standing alone, just looking toward the house.
So they caught him.
They arrested him for trespassing, and everyone thought it was over. But Mark didn't feel that way. A few days later, he saw a post on Snapchat from a girl who lived nearby. It was a video. It showed another man, not Seth, trying to break into her house late at night. That's what bothered Mark the most. It meant Seth might not be the only one out there. There could be more. They could be connected. They might not be done.
Oh. That was a plot twist. So there's more. There's more. You're screwed. Just move house at this point. I would have just moved house. If I had a stalker and then, well, he's not that bad. I go for walks and he doesn't follow me, but still stalks around my house. But like if there's another person and it's not Seth, was it? Yeah, Seth, the guy that said he molested a kid, a boy or whatever. Was it a boy or girl? I can't remember. Molested a child, I think it was. But if there's another one out there, okay. There's probably 10 of them out there. I would have just moved house ASAP. I would have not. I would have up and left for personal reasons. Wouldn't have to tell everyone why I left. Because who knows what they are capable of. I'm just kidding. Trust the people that you know. Trust the people that you love and that you know aren't gonna stalk you. I don't know.
A few years ago, 3 high school friends named Beck, Matthew, and Tyler decided to explore a sewer tunnel in their neighborhood. It was winter and very cold outside. The tunnel was at the edge of their neighborhood, under a small creek next to some office buildings. These buildings were empty and dark at night. The boys had seen the tunnel before, but never went inside of it. It always looked creepy, and they joked about it, but deep down they were curious. That night, they finally decided to go in. They brought sleds with them, thinking it would help if someone asked what they were doing. They knew they weren't allowed to be there, but they wanted to do something exciting. Just as they pulled into the parking lot, a police car showed up. A police officer got out and asked what they were doing there. Someone had apparently seen them on the security camera. Tyler quickly said that they were just going sledding. The officer looked at them for a moment, then told them to leave. So they left, but only for a little while. After driving around for about 30 minutes, they came back. This time, they parked farther away, behind a building where no one could see them. They walked down a hill behind the buildings. They could see their breath in the cold, crisp air. They stood in front of the tunnel, noting how big, round, and completely dark inside it was. They turned on their flashlights and walked in.
Oh, damn. Yeah, if you've been asked not to go in a place, don't go in there. I had a carer that used to do that. Not with us, but apparently she used to do that in her personal life. She'd just break into random people's homes. Well, not people's homes, but abandoned places. Sorry, I shouldn't say people's homes. She'd be charged for trespass. Just like random buildings. Like, yeah. I'd probably go to like abandoned buildings, though. This, I don't know if this is a bit, it probably is abandoned. They said the tunnels. Are tunnels abandoned? Probably. Looks creepy as hell down there.
Dude, how do we even find it? Oh my god! Inside the tunnel, the ground was dry. It was quiet, except for the sound of water dripping deeper in. The walls had graffiti all over them. Most of it looked old, but one thing caught their eye. A date was spray painted in large red numbers. 6/19/19. The paint looked newer than the rest, like it was done recently.
Yeah, date.
That made them feel uneasy. Their flashlights weren't very
Could
strong.
be a date
didn't
when they
shine
made
very
the
far.
painting. No.
Still, they kept walking and acting tough.
Nothing
But deep
really to
down,
be
they were
alert
nervous.
about.
The farther they went, the colder it got. The temperature was dropping fast. Even though they were underground, they could still see their breath. The walls looked like they had ice on them. Big icicles hung down from the ceiling. Some were huge and sharp.
I think I saw him play. What was that? Hello? Going? Can we keep going? Dude, are these icicles can like impale you, dude?
Damn. Should have got out of there while
Suddenly,
you
a
did.
loud cracking sound echoing from further down the tunnel.
That might have
set
been
them
just like a little crack. I don't know. Could be a homeless person living down there. Yeah, that was your cue to get out of there while you could.
fleeing in fear. The sound resembled something heavy hitting stone. It wasn't any of them. The sound came from deeper inside the tunnel, too far to see. They tripped, slid, and bumped into each other as they rushed to get out. When they got outside, they were shaking and breathing hard. That's when Beck noticed his phone was missing. He had dropped it while they were running. Tyler
Of
and
course,
Matthew
you
forget
left
about
your
it.
phone
They
down
didn't
there.
want to go back in.
That would have been
But
me.
Beck
I would have
listened.
left my phone down
He
there.
grabbed his flashlight and started walking toward the tunnel again.
I
The others followed. He
understand.
didn't want to. The tunnel felt different this time.
No, I
It
wouldn't have
felt
wanted to,
even
but I
darker.
would have
The
had
air
to.
felt heavy and
I
strange.
ain't buying
Like
another
something was
phone.
wrong.
Costs too
Their
much.
flashlights didn't work as well. And the silence was even worse than before. It felt like something was watching them.
Probably was. Alexa, turn smart light on to white. Alexa, turn smart light on to bright white.
At some point off camera, Beck found his phone. Afterwards, the group continued deeper into the tunnel investigating. That's when they heard a sound.
It must have hit like here.
Oh, hell no.
A loud scream came from deeper in the tunnel. It Drink ride, because it worked. It echoed off the walls and felt like it was getting closer. They didn't wait. They turned and ran as fast as they could. This time, no one talked, no one looked back. They just ran. They got to the car, jumped in, and drove away without stopping. The car ride back was mostly silent. The three friends thought it was over when they all got home. They were ready to move on with their lives. But late that night, Beck's doorbell rang twice. This was at some off hour in the night. When Beck's dad went to answer the door, nobody was there. This, of course, begs the question, were the boys followed home that night? Or was it simply a very unfortunately timed ding-dong ditch? That remains a mystery. The night left more questions than answers for the three friends, but they all heard the noises and of course got it on video. Perhaps it was something they weren't meant to stumble upon.
Yeah, probably. Just don't go on creepy
In
ass
April of
tunnels.
2022, a man named Connor took a construction job far from home as part of a
I
three-month
forgot to be doing the. I was meant to be doing the ranking. The first one was a 10. That one was about an 8. That one wasn't really scary. It was like a 7.5, 8. I'd go about 7.5. Wasn't really scary. The first one though was like a 10. Just saying, because you don't know what that guy was capable of. Well, you know he could be a murderer too. You just don't know.
accommodation program. The pay was decent, and he needed every dollar. He wasn't in the best place financially, and the bonus of working alongside his longtime friend Jim made the opportunity more appealing. They figured it would be a nice change of pace, extra cash, time away from home, and some peace from the chaos of everyday life. The job itself wasn't bad. A few weeks in, Ryan had adjusted well to the routine, but the area they were stationed in was remote, deep in rural countryside. There were long, winding roads with barely any signs of life. It wasn't unusual to go miles without seeing a single home. Ryan had always loved the outdoors, and he saw this isolation as a chance to unplug. Most of his coworkers blew their weekends drinking, but Ryan had different plans. He wanted solitude. He wanted quiet. So when Friday rolled around, he packed his gear and prepared for a weekend of hiking and camping deep within the woods. A narrow trailhead just 5 minutes from his temporary accommodation became his entry point. Within 20 minutes, he was deep in the forest. The only sound was the wind and the crunch of his boots. He smoked a couple
I love the
joints as he
sound
made
of
his way
wind.
further
It's
in,
really
letting the
good. It's
stress
very
just melt away.
therapeutic.
The isolation was comforting for him. Well, at first. Around 7 p.m., the sun began to sink behind the treetops. Shadows stretched long across the trail. Ryan knew it was time to find a place to settle. That's when he noticed something unusual. There was a scent in the air, burning firewood, and a light layer of smoke drifted between the trees. At first, it seemed normal. Maybe another camper, maybe a local. But then, he caught something just barely in the corner of his vision. The faint orange glow of fire flickering through the trees. Curious and confident, Ryan left the trail and headed towards the source. He wasn't scared. He trained in combat sports during his teens and stayed in good shape. Still, something about this felt off to him. As he moved closer, he began to see strange metallic glints. Shopping carts, dozens of them. They were tied to trees with rope hanging from
Hell no.
branches. Some mangled and suspended in bizarre positions, like a twisted jungle gym of rut.
Yeah, that's some cult. You just stumbled across. That's a cult. Like, nah, I would have been gone. I would have been like, nah, you ain't taking my soul today. Not anymore. Nope. Yeah, that's like some satanic shit with, nah. Maybe go somewhere else for some camping. I'd go somewhere else.
Steel. It didn't look like a
What?
campsite.
Who
It looked like
uses
a ritual
trolleys
site, like
as
something
like
meant to
a
be
ritual? Who uses trolleys for a ritual or some shit? Like who? Like who in their right mind does that? Those trolley wheels, just like why? Why do you? It looks stupid.
seen and feared. Ryan pulled out his phone and started snapping photos. He had to prove this to his friends someday because no one would believe it otherwise. Then, something even stranger caught his
I
eye.
would believe it.
Hung directly above the fire was a charred, old-fashioned duck ornament.
What the
I
fuck?
might vote independent this time. Here you go.
You're doing too much, buds.
Sitting in
There's
the
probably
duck's back
someone
was a
watching
scorched
him do
baby
this
doll.
shit.
The thing was melted, its limbs warped from heat. Ryan took a photo of that too, but the longer he stared, the more disturbed he felt. His chest began to tighten. The fire was roaring, clearly tended to recently. There were water bottles scattered around. Someone had been there, or currently was there, maybe still watching. He thought about turning around, thought about heading straight back to the trailhead, but something made him keep walking. He tried to convince himself it was nothing, just some weird loner, maybe drunk, probably harmless.
No,
He
they're
checked over his
definitely
shoulder
not
for the bullets.
harmless.
20 minutes passed, and he'd put real distance between himself and that eerie camp. But daylight was fading fast, and he needed firewood before it got too dark. He veered off the trail again, this time to gather supplies. He wasn't worried. He had emergency wood in his pack, but not enough to last the entire night. He needed more.
No,
After
you
about an
should
hour of
be
preparation,
worried.
Ryan had set up his tent.
He should be worried. You know, we got this satanic cult bullshit going on with like trolleys and dead ornaments or whatever the fuck's going on there. Like, I would not be staying there. I would not be staying there at all. Hell no. Like, can you imagine, like, oh, you stumbled across some random trolleys that were connected to one another with fire and, like, ornaments that have been cut, like some duck that's been, like, degutted or. No. I don't mess with that type of crap. Like, I've seen too many cult shit. Jim Jones, and not that he's satanic, he's more like God shit or whatever. I'm not fucking with that crap. Like, hell no. Especially in the middle of the woods where you're alone, you don't know what's out there. There could be someone lurking around in those woods staring at you like you don't know. People are malicious. People have malicious intentions of trying to lure people into something that diabolical or something that might be like, something that you can't escape from. And I think this was your cue to escape. Like, yeah, I don't know. Could end well, Obviously, it did end well because obviously he wouldn't be telling the story. But
And built
yeah.
a small fire. It was around 9 p.m. when
Anyway,
he prepped a steak and potato meal in foil and nestled it in the glowing embers. He smoked another joint to dull the anxiety, and for a while, everything seemed okay again. With his meal finished and the fire crackling, Ryan settled in for the night. He turned on a pre-downloaded playlist of true crime podcasts, listening to cold
in the
case
middle of the
files as
woods.
the forest
Let's
turned
watch some
dark.
true crime.
There was no signal out
That
there,
makes it less
no
scary, huh?
distractions, just
Not.
firelight and static-filled voices recounting unsolved murders. At some point, he drifted off to sleep,
I
but it
wouldn't
didn't
have.
last. He woke up suddenly. The air inside his tent felt colder. The fire outside had dimmed. He checked his phone. 4 a.m. He didn't know what had woken him up until he heard it. Whistling.
You see what I mean? You see what I mean? Like, you see what I'm talking about? I hate whistling. I hate, like, distance whistling. Some guy or woman. It's mainly a guy a lot of the time. Out in the distance, whistling like out in the distance, like, no, I would be gone. I would not be staying there. Like, oh, that's creepy. I had the chills. Like, I don't mess with people that like distance with. I've heard that before, outside before, in my house. Like, I've heard people whistling outside. I'm like, hell no! I'm putting on some headphones. Ain't listening. That's disturbing. You don't know. They're just like probably lurking around your tent as we speak. Whew. Stop whistling.
A slow, eerie tune carried through the trees surrounding his camp. He froze. His body wouldn't move. It was
Same.
like
My
something
body wouldn't
inside him
move.
had shut down. He
I
lay
love how
motionless,
but he can
listening
watch,
as the sound
he
crept
can,
closer.
he can watch a horror film. He can watch a true crime documentary out in the middle of the woods, but he can't. He's more disturbed by hearing whistling out in the. I mean, I would be too, but true crime shit is disturbing because it's based on real stuff, and you're alone. So a lot of things happen during camping. I'm not saying all crime happens during camping because it's not true. Like, but one of the big crimes and people that go missing is because they've gone camping. That's why I don't do alone camping. I love camping, but I have to go to a included area where there's a bunch of people surrounded and at least a friend of mine, or a carer, support worker, whatever you want to, at least someone there that could be like you know that person, and like if that person wasn't around or you were somewhere else going to the bathroom or whatever, like you got other people surrounding there. I would not go in a random secluded place where there's no one there but yourself. No. But you're watching true crime shit. I wouldn't be watching true crime. Maybe if there was a bunch of people in that forest and a friend of mine, I'd watch it, but no, hell no.
The whistling stopped. What followed was worse. Soft footsteps. Fast, light, and quiet.
What'd I tell ya?
He couldn't
This
see
one's
them.
very
He could hear them
disturbing.
crunching twigs and shifting leaves. His heart pounded in his throat.
Fine.
Then, without thinking, his body finally snapped into motion. He jumped up, threw on his boots, and burst out of the tent. What made it worse, what twisted the fear into something primal, was that the footsteps had come from the direction he had entered the trail. The way back to safety was now blocked. He had no choice but to run deeper into the forest. He sprinted as fast as he could, crashing through brush and low branches. But behind him, he could hear more footsteps, multiple, and they weren't in sync. The sounds overlapped, too fast and scattered to just be one person. There were two of them, maybe more. For 5 straight minutes, he ran until his lungs burnt and his legs begged for rest. He found a dense cluster of trees and dove into the underbrush, burying himself in leaves and tangled roots. He didn't move. He barely breathed. The footsteps faded, distant now, but he didn't dare come out. He waited, still and silent in the dark. Eventually, he knew he had to move. He crawled through the forest with branches cutting into his arms and legs. Every step was slow and careful. When the trees finally began to thin, he broke into one final sprint. He recognized the trailhead, the way out, and he ran without stopping. No one followed him after that. The forest was quiet, but the damage was done. He got back to his accommodation and immediately reported the incident to the police. They took his statement and promised to investigate, but he never heard anything back. To
No.
this day, Ryan
Typical.
believes the people who chased him were the same ones who built that bizarre shrine of cards and dolls. What they were doing out there and what they wanted, he doesn't know. But it was more than just a creepy encounter. To him, it felt ritualistic, cult-like. He finished his contract and returned home, but the memory never left him. He still remembers the sound of footsteps, the whistling, and the feeling of helplessness. If there's anything to learn from this story, be to trust your instincts. If you find something that doesn't feel right, you should leave. Ryan almost didn't, and he knows he might not have lived to tell the story if he had stayed.
Yep. Always go
This
by
video
your.
was me experimenting with a slightly different style. If any of you have personal scary experiences that include photos or videos and you'd like to submit them, email them to me and I'll try to make this style of video a new series. Also, if you haven't already, click the bell icon and turn on all notifications because apparently only 15% of you have done so. And that would really help out the channel.
Falling.
I'm so sick of seeing government shit. I'm turning off my TV. So tired of seeing government shit. Hell no. That one was like a 10 too. A 9.5. I'll go 10 because of that ritual shit. Whoo! I have chills down my spine and lower back. Although I got back problems. Oh, hell no. Nope. That was definitely a 10. For sure. Yeah! That was my reaction to Mr. Nightmare. That one was called 3 Creepy Real Stories with photos and video footage. Disturbing. Hell no. That was. I had chills all down my spine. Nope. Yeah, no. That was just. Especially that last one with the guy that went camping. Like, yeah. No, the first one I think was more scary. I don't know which one was more scary. Probably the last one, because with the first one, at least they had the friends there. He had no friends. But, yeah. That last story, though, that don't go in the woods by yourself. And don't allow people to go into your pool either. Like, and you see some. Okay, I'm going back to the other story. If you see some satanic ritual with trolleys connected to one another, get out of there. What are you doing? Get out of there. Go. Scram. Do you want to die? Like, jeez. Yeah, these stories, man. Like, I like that Mr. Nightmare all of a sudden just. I like that he does these type of videos versus his story videos because there's concrete evidence to back up this information, to back up what he's narrating. So I really liked it. I really liked it. Not that I like any of his other videos; they're always good too. But yeah, so I'm very curious to see how you guys feel. I really enjoyed this reaction. So yeah, hopefully get another video in. Yeah. The second story wasn't as scary. It probably just was some homeless person, and they just didn't want random people coming into the tunnel where they're staying. I'd say that. Still scary. Go 7.5, 8, but yeah, that first and last story was very scary. But anyway, yeah, that was my reaction to Mr. Nightmare. Yeah. Anyway, please subscribe, turn notification, and click the bell beside you. I love you guys so much. Mwah! Thanks for watching. Bye!